Hello, everyone. How you doing? It's Dr. Weiss. Sorry, I'm in Phoenix right now, and there might be a little lapse between my video that you see there and the audio that you hear. Um, so, again, the purpose of this maybe half-hour Q&A session, instructional section in the Milestone 1 is strictly to kind of give you an indication of what the requirements are, what my expectations are, and to show you a sample from a prior student so you can kind of give an idea how this all works. Before we get started, though, real quick, has anybody had a chance to look through the Milestone, this grading rubric that you see on the screen right now? You can say, you can use a chat feature, or you can unmute yourself and say hi. It's up to you. But it's up to you. But if not, that's okay. We still have some time. We have over a week to get this done. But let me just kind of start through what this whole thing's about here. The Milestone grading rubric, Milestone 1 really is strictly about horizontal and vertical analysis. I know we've covered a little bit about that in the course. I've put some videos up to the thread discussions, as well as to the announcement section to help you understand how, or the mechanics of how the horizontal vertical analysis works. I've also uploaded a template I'm going to be showing very shortly that I would recommend each and every one of you use for this this project. You'll know why in a second. So give me a quick second here. I'm just going to put a spotlight in the video. So the first part is a basic analysis looking at account receivable, looking at asset acquisitions, depreciation, amortization, and looking at your debt. And the real goal is to see how these numbers have changed over a 2-year period. Now, when you're looking at the Starbucks report, you're really looking at a fiscal year report, which means that it's not calendar year end. So, their year end is not 12/31 as we are used to on our individual tax returns, for example. So when we look over onto the spreadsheet, you'll see how that works. But the bottom line is, you use basic financial analysis to do the calculations. You find the results that change from year to year, and then you explain why. You can give your own from your own experience. You can explain why it occurred. But the best way really to do it is to look at the summary significant account policies, as well as the notes to the financial statements, to figure out what the company said happened. Another section of the annual report this is very, very important is the management analysis section. This is where management sits down and says, okay, these are our results. Here are the change. This is why it increased. Here are the risks that we had to go through the prior year. Here are the risks that we currently face. And these risks are most likely going to be the risks that you face going forward in the future. So that's what you need to add to this particular analysis. And then you got debt financing. Let's just show you what the spreadsheet looks like here. So hopefully everyone was able to at least take a gander at this Excel spreadsheet to see what actually is going on. The hard part that most students have a lot of trouble with is the horizontal analysis, the HA here, the HA tabs for both the balance sheet and income statement. The items highlighted on each of these tabs are really the items that you need to focus on. Now, it does not mean you just enter those items on the spreadsheet and that's it. No, you have to enter everything from the 2017 annual report, from cash and cash equivalents, for example, all the way down non-controlling interest, to make sure that the balance sheet equation works out. Total assets equals total liabilities and stockholders' equity. I've already done the first 2 fiscal years for you. So all you have to do is drop in the numbers as of October 1st, 2017. So right now you're probably asking yourself, well, if you only have to do 2 fiscal years, why are you showing 3 fiscal years of data? Well, good question. The answer is because you want to look at 2 years worth of change If you just compare 2016 to 2017, you're looking only at 1 year of change. But if you put in 2015, you're looking at 2 years worth of change, okay? And that's the important piece when it comes to the horizontal analysis. Horizontal analysis is also referred to as trend analysis, trend. So you kind of want to document the trend from 1 year to the next. So by just looking at one fiscal year, 2016, 2017, you're not doing a trend. What you're really doing is putting a point on a graph and saying, okay, this is a number Y. But a more thorough, more holistic analysis will include 3 fiscal years worth of data. Now that's just for the horizontal analysis. But let me just finish up this tab before I go on to the vertical analysis. Again, here, if you put the numbers in, let's say it was $3,000. So what we have here is it's automatically set up for you, the formula is already set up, where the percentage change from 2017 to 2016 is calculated for you. And as you can see, it increased by roughly 41%. And then also the change from 2016 to 2015 is already there as well. So then what you do is you look at this change and say, okay, well, it went from 39 to 40%. There's really not much change. I could probably ignore this one. But you also have to keep in mind that these numbers, this is not $3,000. These numbers are presented in thousands, which means you have to add 3 zeros after the number. So if this 3,000 becomes 3 million, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you got to make sure you keep that in mind. But again, these percentage changes are not really going to change that much. Again, the only areas that you have to focus on are the items highlighted in yellow. Okay, so let's go over to the income statement. The only thing on the income statement that you have to worry about is depreciation and amortization, and this should technically tie directly to property, plant, and equipment, because if property, plant, and equipment goes up, the odds are depreciation and expense is going to go up as well. Okay. Let's go over the vertical analysis. Now, the vertical analysis is a little bit different. As you can see, I only have 2 fiscal years worth of data here. That's because you're looking at each year separately. So in effect, you're having 2 years worth of change. So, for example, let's just look at October 2nd, 2000. Let's look at cash and cash equivalents. We have a percentage here of 14.86%. Okay, 14.86% of what? Well, that's 14.86% of total assets. Okay, so everything on this balance sheet here for the vertical analysis, the denominator that I'm using is total assets, and you can tell because this is 100% right here. Okay, so really the whole idea about the vertical analysis is to say, okay, in 2016, account receivable accounted for 5.37% of total assets. Let's just make up a number here and say 900. Okay, now right now, 900 is 100% because that's what your total assets equal. Let's put another asset figure in there. Let's put long-term assets at 1,500. Let's put cash at $3,000. So what happens here is that you have a difference here. You have account receivable as a percentage of total assets, has increased to 16.67% from 5.37% in the prior year. You'll need to find out why. I mean, it could be because they had poor collections. It could be that they extended the terms on their credit agreement, which allowed individuals to pay later. Maybe they just, in general, made more sales on credit. That type of thing. So that's the type of explanation you need to pull out from this type of analysis. As you can see, there's only 2 fiscal years of data within the vertical analysis piece of this, okay? And again, anything highlighted in yellow are the items that you need to focus on. But do not forget that you need to look up at the annual report and jot down all the numbers for every single item you see here in column A on each of these tabs. Okay, so this really is a start of your analysis. Once you enter those numbers in, you have your results. And now the hard part is, or the most challenging part is, to figure out why. That's where the annual report comes into play. Again, you look at the management discussion analysis section, look at the notes to the financial statements. Those are the 2 areas of the annual report that will provide you with the most credible information. You can look at Yahoo Finance about the particular company. You can do that. You You can look at what other analysts have to say as support for your explanation. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. All right, we had a chat question here. Give me a second here. If I can pull it down. All right. Can you mute all your microphones? It's kind of hard to hear, Stephen. Oh, I can do that. Sorry, guys. Let me mute everybody. Give me a second here. All right. How do I do that? Okay, hold on. I can do it. Okay, everybody should be muted at this point in time. I hope that's better. But regardless, I am recording this video, so it was difficult to hear the prior 5 minutes, for example. I'll have it uploaded to the course shell by tomorrow so that everybody can go back and take a look at this presentation at their leisure. So I hope that this explains the results piece of it. Let me pull up a sample paper real quick. This is from a student about a couple terms ago. I'm not quite sure. She did relatively well. This was her first accounting course, financial course, and she really put a lot of work into this because, as you can see, she has a total of 21 pages. But don't be threatened by that, because the 21 pages really is composed of a lot of things in the appendix, like copies of financial statements from annual reports. She actually even copied the consolidated balance sheet, the horizontal vertical analysis, and put it into the appendix as well. And she put a lot of tables into the paper as well, which increased the length of the paper. Now, I do expect you to, when you're doing the paper and you're doing the explanation, I do expect you to, mention the results, discuss the results, and also put it into a table. That way I don't have to keep going back to the appendix to look at the analysis that you did, and then coming back to page 1, for example, and just keep going back and forth. I would like to have it there and kind of be a nice little seamless analysis where everything's there in one area. And this includes all the areas: assets, depreciation, anything that you're looking at. And there are a plethora of videos on the YouTube, for example, that can help you copy an Excel spreadsheet into a Word document. And if you do need help with that, please let me know. I can send you a couple. I have some saved somewhere. I'm not quite sure at this point. But anyways, let's go down the line here. She's got a title page. And each of the milestones 1, 2, and 3, I want to see a title page. She's got an introduction section. Now, I know each of these milestones have a separate introduction section. And then in week 10, you submit a final project submission, which basically pulls everything together. And then you do a final conclusion as to the overall health of Starbucks. If you do the introductions within each milestone and you do a conclusion for each milestone, then all you have to do is assemble those various introductions and various conclusions and put them together for your final analysis. You may have to add a few sentences here or there, but majority of that work will be done. So do the work now so you can save your time later, okay? And the introduction really establishes context, what Starbucks is all about, what the purpose of the analysis is. Don't forget to mention your thesis. It's always important to mention that in the introduction section. And then there were, like I said, when you looked at the rubric, there are 3 types of analysis. You're looking at account receivable, okay, from both the horizontal and vertical analysis perspective. I'm just going real fast. I'll go back to it in a second. Then she's got another section called asset analysis, where she talked about probably plant equipment. She probably included depreciation in there. Again, looking at the horizontal. I can't really pronounce that right today, can I? And vertical analysis. And then the last section that the individual had was debt analysis. Okay, so those are the 3 basic areas. And if you go back to the rubric, that's what you have here. You have account receivable, assets, and debt. Okay, so if you use this rubric as a way to outline your milestone 1 and the rubrics for milestone 2 and milestone 3, I think you'll start off very well and you'll end very well. It'll provide you a nice little map from point A to point B of what you need to cover. Okay, so we'll get into the rubric in a second. But going back to the paper, I'm just going to go look at the first section here and kind of give you an idea of what this individual did. And it's something that you can emulate. Nothing wrong with that. So within the account receivable area, the student mentioned how Starbucks accounts for their account receivable. Again, look in the notes section for that. She also copied, actually, apparently what this student did was that she did her own analysis, not using the spreadsheet that I attached. That's okay, but it's a lot easier if you just use the attachment. That way, the calculations are not as cumbersome as they could be. Okay. And then she put it in here as an image. She highlighted it, so I was able to identify the change from 2016 to 2017 and the change from 2015 to 2016. Okay, and of course this should match up with the numbers that you found in the analysis. Okay, and of course this was the horizontal analysis, and then she also included a vertical analysis piece based on total assets. So here is the information right here. Okay, and then she explained it, and then she did the same thing for the asset piece. Then she did the same thing for the debt piece. Okay, the one thing I want to point out here is that this is an APA paper. Okay, it must be formatted in APA style. If you go to Purdue OWL website, PURDUE OWL website, you should be fine. That'll help you with everything that you need to know in order to make sure that all of the APA requirements are followed. There's even a sample paper that you can download. Just to let you guys know, I only have about 10 minutes left of this because this is a free account and I don't have a paid version of Zoom. So we have about 10 more minutes left, and I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can. So do definitely go back and look at and review this information. And if you had any individual questions, I'll be more than happy to speak with you. Okay. So that's what she did. And then once you go down to the reference section, let's see, where is that reference section? It's a long paper. I only expect maybe 2 to 3 pages of analysis, but if you really want to get into it and be a rock star, go 3 to 5. It's really up to you. Okay, so there's your conclusion, and then she's got a reference section. Now, this section really isn't in, I would say, APA style. It's close, but you no longer need hyperlinks, for example. And another example is you no longer need the retrieve from date. But you can get all that from the Purdue website. And I will put up some additional resources to help you with APA as well, unless I have it already. I think I might have, don't quite remember. I'm getting too old at my young age. All right, and then in the appendix section, she just copied basically the statements. She copied her analysis piece all the way down. So I want to see the calculations not only within the appendix section, but also within tables in the body of the paper. Okay, so let's go down to the rubric here. Take a look at this rubric. I think the hardest part about the rubric is the method section. And this is where you tie together the results of the analysis with how the company performs the accounting for that particular area. So if you notice there was an increase in accounts receivable, could it be related to how the company accounts for that particular item? You know what I'm saying? Did they have more bad debt expense on the books? Did they have more debt write-offs on the books, which basically lowered your accounts receivable from the prior year? Things of that nature. And again, the summary significant of accounting policy section as well as the notes section are instrumental in helping to explain those differences that you come when you do the calculations. And pay attention to debt. Debt usually has a big section on its own. It's one of the most important pieces of the financial statement. Okay, well, that's all I have. Are there any questions? Any questions that I can quickly answer within 5 minutes or so? I do apologize for the length of time, but with the free account, I don't have as many options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute everybody right now and ask away. One at a time, please. And if you don't have any questions, that's fine too. You can always have questions later throughout the week. Feel free to give me a call, contact me. There we go. I see some people are unmuted. Anybody have a question? I will be uploading the Milestone example probably within the next couple of days. So make sure you check it out. Where do we find the spreadsheet? You find the attached spreadsheet to the announcement section. So if you go in the announcement section of the course, if this is not your course, that's fine because I'm teaching 2 sections of this at this point, and I'm pretty much, I posted the same information. If you go to, I just posted it recently. If you go to some resources, no, it's not that one. If you go to specific information on milestones 1 and 2, okay, which I posted on February 26th, and you go down to middle of the announcement, it says horizontal vertical analysis template, just click on this link and it'll bring up the download for you, okay? And it's also got the same thing for Milestone 2, and it's got a sample student paper. This is a different student paper that's more really focused toward Milestone 2 than Milestone 1. But you can either look at that now or you can look at it later, depending on what you want to do. Okay. Also, as a matter of point, I added another announcement called Milestone 1 Questions Answered. These are typical questions that I get every term. So make sure you check it out to see what the responses are. Usually it's about formatting, typically, that type of deal. I noticed a minor difference between 2006 values compared to 2007's final report. Which do we use? I tried filling out the spreadsheet, but when I saved it, it did not take. How do I take the? So you're saying there's a difference between the 2017 and 2016 annual report? Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about the spreadsheet itself is wrong? Are you talking about maybe a different, there's a different line item in 2017 that you don't see in 2016? If that's the case, just add the line to that document, to the template, and then copy down the formulas. So what tab are you talking about? Different values in the BSHA tab. G through G12. Okay. So in 2016, you see different values there? You don't see 350 for 2016? You see something else? Or do you see this broken up? You see 347 in the 2017 report under 2006. In other words, when you're looking at the 2017 annual report, you see $347.50 here under
but that's
October.
2016.
Yeah, but do you see it here? Do you see it here or see it here? Do you see it in G12 or do you see it in D12? Is my question. Yes, in 2017 G12 and 2006-7 G12 and oh, okay. G12 2017 2016. I guess I don't understand what you're talking about here. Let me take a look at the spreadsheet and I'll look at it because I mean, from what I remember, it should be 350 here. If you see it in this, if you see numbers in this column, delete them. If you see numbers in the October 1st, 2017 column, delete them. There shouldn't be any numbers in there. Okay, because you have to enter those numbers yourself. I have 350 in G12. Okay, that is correct. That is correct then. It should be 350.
She said in D, and D12 is incorrect.
She's saying in D and G12 is incorrect?
She's saying D12 is incorrect.
There shouldn't be anything in D12.
Yeah. So maybe our spreadsheet's wrong.
Because
See when she's looking at the financials from her financials, right point that it's different than.
I can't hear you.
She might be talking about what she's looking at in the financials when she holds
Okay.
it over the spreadsheet.
What column is she looking at the thing? Again, let me just look at it. I'll take a look at it and see if I can fix it. We don't have a lot of time left. Page
Like,
52 of the 2017 report. Okay.
I tried filling out the spreadsheet, and then when I went to save it, it lost all my work. It's saying it's on a protected status. How do I get it off so I can keep the work that I put into the horizontal and vertical analysis?
It shouldn't be in
Plug
protected.
everything in.
It shouldn't be in protected status. I didn't protect anything.
It's saying if you look at the spreadsheet, it says protected on the saves portion, but I can always copy it into another workbook, but it's not letting me save anything.
Do we
After
save as? Do we save as if it is read only? Do we save it as a read? Like if you right click it, you can do. You can save it as a read only. Let me look at the spreadsheet. I'll get back to it tonight. I have less than a minute. I have to get off.
Okay.
And are there any other pertinent questions at this time, or was this helpful? I hope. So what you do is you save it as a read only, and you just change the name of the file. That's how you do it. You got to save it. That's how you save it that way.